Expelled college students of Reddit, why are you expelled? I went to a private Christian university. And I have a friend who got expelled for supposedly exorcising a demon out of someone in the middle of a wide open courtyard. Wouldn't that technically be a good thing? I unintentionally got another student expelled. We were critiquing websites we had built when I noticed one that looked exactly like mine with a few tweaks. I popped open the source and noticed it was a line-for-line copy of my code with a few changes to the CSS. I brought it up to the professor to protect myself in case he noticed them, though I doubt I would have been suspected. Mine was more cohesive. The changes he did make didn't make the site appealing. Anyway. Apparently it was his third time plagiarizing after twice you go on trial with the school. If you don't get expelled then. A third time is the nail in the coffin. Edit. I did not get expelled, haha. This is just a third person anecdote. Edit 2. We routinely critiqued work in class. Most of our sites were built through CodePen. All he needed was any student's CodePen username and he had access to the code. I am about 99.3% sure it's how he did it. You didn't get them expelled. I spent too much time drinking and not going to class. I was a junior with a 1.6 overall GPA. University said they didn't need my ilk around there and would open my spot for someone who would appreciate it. This got my attention. I went to the dean and talked with him for a couple of hours trying to get back in. He said no. 19 out of 20 of you guys go back to doing the same thing. I told him I would be the exception. He gave me another chance. From then on out it was 4.0 every semester. I finally got my GPA up over 2.5 so I could graduate. I made sure and went back to the dean's office to thank him and tell him that I was that 1 out of 20 that made it. Installing Bitcoin miners on all the computers in a video editing lab. For being off campus with a member of the opposite sex without proper supervision. No. Seriously. A guy and a girl in my uni, which is located in a conservative country, were caught making out in the stairway. Both were legally adults. Girl's parents were called. They took her away, so technically not expelled, and got her married to another guy already lined up. Guy was transferred to lesser known college where he didn't perform well but landed a Thai job. Edit. Greetings. My fellow Indians. I was making a search engine for our school teacher evaluation page. It absolutely blew up in popularity and a large portion of the school was using it, about 5k views per day. Essentially it was like Rate My Professors except it used the evals that they force students to do at the end of the class as data. I also added features that made it more desirable to students. It became so popular that it was showing up on the front page of Google for certain teacher names. Some of those teachers had low ratings and got it off and complained. I had unintentionally violated IP laws because the evaluations were under password protections and my site was not. The only reason I didn't get expelled was because the dean of my department had my back. He did research and concluded the information should not have been private in the first place. Then sent a public information request to make it so my project did not break the law. I definitely had people asking for my expulsion for a scary amount of time. My roommate got expelled for basically never going to class. Not even when there was an important exam. He spent all night smoking weed, with me, and playing video games, not with me. And then slept all day until about 5 PM. Like I would wake up. Go to my 8:30 lecture. Get lunch. Go to lab 2-5. Then come back to my room and my roommate was still sleeping. I found out the following summer that he had gotten a letter from the university asking him not to come back. Last I heard of him, he had enrolled at a commuter school, where he made the dean's list. Heard this story of this dude who got kicked out for leaving on break to train with Al-Qaeda. Never heard of that internship. I had a friend who skipped all classes and failed everything because all he wanted to do was play LOL. He got a warning that if he didn't get his grades up he would be suspended for a year. He got suspended. When he went back to the school a year later, the same thing happened again. Now he can't go back to that college again. Wasn't expelled but damn near. Junior year I took an elective class called reading fiction. Cool class, but the teacher was extremely strict and took the class very serious. I'm alright at writing papers. And this class involved heavy writing about writing techniques, symbolism, foreshadowing, act. We were assigned to read a book that I can't remember the name, but I wasn't into it at all. I struggled to finish it and struggled even more to write a detailed paper on it. I slammed out the minimal page requirement and sources needed. It was not my best work, but it was serviceable. I get an email from the teacher a few days later saying he would like me to come into his office hours. He accused me of plagiarizing certain segments of my paper, which I did not, and was ready to send my case to the dean. Apparently some things I sourced in my paper were done incorrectly, which lead him to believe I straight copy and pasted from the internet. The second hour of office time was him passive aggressively calling me an idiot. I had a particularly rough semester and got D in a class that I had previously dropped after about a week the prior semester because my schedule was too busy then. Department rules say that you can't attempt a class for credit more than twice, including drops, so I got kicked out of my major. I was 14 hours away from graduation at the time. The academic advisor said that I could either change my major, so basically start college all over, or off for a year and then come back on probation. So I guess I'm not expelled per se, but I'm taking an involuntary gap year. I shot a firework out of my ass in a campus-owned house. I got expelled in 2004 for inciting a riot. When I was in college I got suspended 3 times for bad grades. At one point my GPA was a 1.0. I finally got it together and graduated with a degree in finance, and a few years later went back and got a second bachelor's in accounting. I think my GPA is a 3.2 now. I'm not working in finance or accounting because I can't find a job. I mostly just hate my life now and wish for death. That took a left turn. Apparently you can get kicked out for not showing up to class and failing everything. Who knew? Obligatory. I'm not an expelled college student, but I knew a guy who got expelled from an Ivy League for getting caught with too much cocaine. He works at California Pizza Kitchen now. Too much? What's the punishment threshold on cocaine there? Not me, but a guy who lived on the floor below me my freshman year. Dude was already a nuisance. He got drunk and wandered into town one night. Broke a window on a private residence because he thought it was our dorm. Got arrested for breaking said window. When the school found out, they told him that if you got into any trouble either with the police or the school's internal justice system, which is actually decent, it's student run, then he would be thrown out. Same goes for getting transported to the local hospital due to excessive drunkenness. Cut to Halloween night when his roommate found him passed out covered in vomit on the floor of his dorm room. He tested positive for alcohol, marijuana, and cocaine. I'm pretty sure he was kicked out before he got out of the hospital. That's some of the worst behavior you experienced at uni? Where did you go? This sounds like a standard Tuesday afternoon at an English uni. Personally knew a bright individual that was kicked out of a prestigious university for skipping too many classes. He showed up for the important classes, got A's on all of the tests, but due to the fact that he had missed too many classes, he failed all of them. Must not have read that page of the handbook. He now works at the local grocery store and I see him when I come home on breaks. Edit. 2. College was Princeton. He was on a full ride. A kid who worked at my dining hall got expelled and presumably arrested for breaking into girls' dorm rooms and watching them sleep. He had been doing it for a while because people were noticing their doors were unlocked in the morning. He got caught when he tickled a girl's feet. She woke up and screamed. A roommate woke up and screamed. We all screamed and I picked up his shifts. It was not me but a friend of mine who I was trying to help when he was a freshman. He saw us upperclassmen partying a lot and figured if we could do it so could he. I tried my best to get him to stop. Even got him banned from parties with my friends, but he still failed out. I remember the first finals week for him. I asked him how he was going to do. I'll get 3 F's and 1 A. He was sure he was going to ace CS1. A week later he was on CRP. College Restoration Program. He failed all 4. I still do not understand how you go from being sure of acing one course to failing it. In CRP you take 3 courses on how to study, manage time etc. and 1 major course. He was failing all 4 and withdrew under a medical leave to never return. He was smart enough but just lived to party and couldn't handle it. He never got a degree but is employed as a programmer. My niece was expelled for fighting off a coked up hockey player. He was an ex-boyfriend and she's known him for years. He invited her to his off-campus house where she found him coked up, drunk and stoned and wanted to leave. He said no. Blocked her from leaving a room. Threw her into a mirror. She punched him in the nose, a D1 hockey player, and ran to campus security. While filing a statement with campus security, the local PD arrested her and refused to allow her to press charges. They do not do counter charges. Because he is an athlete, he is bound to Title IX. Had he been in any way responsible, he would have been suspended from the NCAA. Solution: suspend the woman. If you have an actual legal issue, never call campus security. Always call the police. Security protects the university, not the students. Not me. But my best friend in college was expelled. He became a nasty drunk and threw a brick through his ex-girlfriend's window. His rich parents bailed him out and got him into the college that they worked for. Years later, he is sober and recently got married. Not US. I didn't show for my 2 classes on a Friday. I had an almost 2-hour commute every day and the classes on Friday were a joined class with our mentor to see if you were getting on well. And if you were, you would basically waste a good hour and a half while others moaned about how hard certain subjects were. We also had a class that was in preparation of a mandatory test you had to go throughout 3 years. If you failed both, you were done. Neither of these classes were mandatory. When I took the test the first time and got the highest score of anyone who took the test without ever being to the preparation classes, it surfaced that my mentor had actually decided that, since I was never in her class, I must have stopped attending altogether and expelled me. Loads of hassle after that. Decided to get my certificate for this test approved and then said you to the whole institution. I never went back to a college or uni afterwards and I'm in a really good position in my career now. 6 years later. Lol, this thread would show up right before an exam I'm about to fail. Not me, but happened to a teammate on my rowing team. He got busted for drinking, which isn't an expellable offense. But to get back at the Ra that caught him, he into a bag, went to the guy's first floor window, and threw it into the Ra's room. What made things worse is that the Ra had a box fan in the window. The hit it and sprayed everywhere in the room. Literally. The hit the fan. He was promptly expelled. This is not my story. It's the story of a classmate. We will nickname him the Idiot. The Idiot was the top student in my promo in journalism school. This was a good school, known to create good journalists. This was because we had 4 mandatory internships in 4 different medias. The school already have partnership with said medias and choose the internships for you based on your preferences, your skills and your results. The Idiot got the best internship there was at my country most important newspaper. Think something like the New York Times. 3 weeks into it, the Idiot is caught for plagiarism. He is fired from the internship and immediately expelled from the school. In shame. Do people who made it back into the education system count? I completely failed my A levels, the qualifications you need in order to get into university in the UK. To compare it, it's the qualification you get when you're 16-18, or equivalent to the International Baccalaureate. Failing all 4 subjects is something that is rarely achieved. I even surprised myself. To this date I'm the only person I know who's done this. Retook the subjects the following year. Managed a bag 4 As. Makes me wonder if they add up the admin or whether I add up on a different league. Either way, I'm now 3 months away from finishing university. Happy days. Y'all. I was kicked out for attempting suicide in residence. They ended up letting me back in a year later though. Only for me to be kicked out of residence again due to being unstable because I passed out in a hallway drunk. Lol. So, how exactly is expelling a suicidal person supposed to help him/her? Expelled for going into a room on the right hand side on the 3rd floor with a giant dog. Jeez. I went to a Christian school for kicks. And because I got a scholarship. I was raised Christian so I had some familiarity with their shtick. But I had already moved beyond it. I got kicked out as I was registering for my 2nd semester. The dean said I didn't fit in there. I was breaking the rules by having hair down past collar length while being a guy. And I'm pretty sure they knew I smoked cigarettes. Which was right out. And it's possible that they knew that I didn't really care much for Christianity and had more respect for Eastern religions. You got a scholarship to college and didn't just follow the rules while you were there so you could get your degree? Did you end up getting a different scholarship somewhere else? I went to Stanford. But my roommate and best friend, Bryce, told a professor he had found a stolen answer sheet for a test in our room and that I used it to cheat. I had never seen that before in my life. I was expelled 12 credits short of graduation. Then Bryce banged my girlfriend. Now I work in retail tech support. I'm douchebag. One of the guys that lived down the hall from me got too drunk one night and ate on his roommate's bed thinking it was the bathroom. That got him expelled quick. That's pretty lame honestly. I put a sock on the fire alarm and got kicked out of halls and expelled. I wasn't even smoking. I was playing with indoor sparklers. I'm starting a new degree this year. Friend got kicked out for not showing up to classes. Dumbus. Now he is 12k in debt and got nothing from the experience. I once knew a guy who could have been a great golfer. Could have gone pro. All he needed was a little time and practice. Decided to go to college instead. Went for 4 years. Did pretty well. At the end of his 4 years. His last semester he was kicked out. You know what for? He was night putting. Just putting at night with the 15-year-old daughter of the dean. Knew this one dude that was caught masturbated multiple times in a utilities closet. Yes, this is a throwaway. No, I am not him. Throwaway Khan. Khan is beef. Which is meat. Throwaway meat. It was you. Knew a guy who got kicked out because he couldn't pass out of high school level math during our first year of college. The kicker. He was an engineering major. Seems to happen with a lot of engineering majors not understanding the intensity of the math they will have to do. I got kicked out of BU, the Mormon private university, for not going to church. You have to maintain 80% church attendance alongside a whole slew of things or your local religious leader can pull your ecclesiastical endorsement which gives you the okay to keep attending. I had stopped believing in the Mormon faith my senior year of high school. But only applied to BU because I loved the sports program and thought I could fake it for 4 years so I could get sweet student section tickets. Only applying to one college. A religious school. Entirely for cheap sports tickets was a terrible mistake. Obligatory not me. But my girlfriend. Her university expelled a bunch of students who talked to their friends about their depression and thoughts of self-harm. Seriously. This ass backwards university discriminated against a ton of students with mental illness and are now being investigated by the Department of Justice. Punched holes in the walls while drunk. Yep, I was stupid. Knew someone who got angry drunk and demolished his door with his bare fists. He woke up the next day and reamed his roommates for destroying it. And I had to end up convincing him that no, he had blacked out and broken the door. The door is replaced. He pays some money. All is well. A little while later. He gets blackout angry drunk and destroys the brand new door again only a few days after they put it in. The next day he didn't have to be convinced. My drug dealing and drug addicted friend thought it was a great idea to send an email to the principal trying to sell him heroin. So when I was a teenager, I got to be a part of the Summer Institute for the Gifted program. It was 3 weeks during the summer at Vassar College. I set a new record by getting expelled within 6 hours for smoking in my dorm and refusing to hand over my cigarettes. Sent emails to my teachers that I didn't like from the principal's email address saying they were fired. Turned the dean's doorknob J to a glory hole. Was told that I didn't attend class enough and would either be failed or have to drop out. My grades were fine. I just couldn't show up for every single class. Especially since I had just lost 2 young family members to a house fire. My freshman roommate. He was a massive party pothead who literally never did chores a day of his life. He got arrested too many times at a different university and didn't take any finals first semester. League of Legends. XGF accused me of RP for revenge. Basically had no shot at these hearings they have at school. There was no evidence or whatever, but her dad was a cop at the school and I had no shot. Ruined my life. No criminal charges or investigation or anything of that nature. Just sat one day in front of some profs and administrators and next thing I knew I was gone, man. Ex-fiancé did the same to me too. Caught her cheating on me. Kicked her out. Couple days later there's cops at my door saying that I had assaulted and RP'd her. This all forced me to miss a set of midterms with no makeup allowed. Failed all my classes but one that semester. Was put on a academic probation. It was insanely hard to get my head straightened together the next semester to keep a 2.5. I hacked into my IT security professor's Blackboard account and posted a general notice to the class about the importance of choosing a strong password. In my defense, we were challenged every exam that if we could guess the test login password, then we got an automatic perfect score. Really? That may have been said in jest. But I decided to try instead for the professor's master password. A short dictionary attack later. And I had it. It was actually a pretty weak. Common. Uncapped. Alpha only. Word. I waited until after the final exam. And posted a quote from our textbook about weak passwords that seemed to come from her account. When I showed up for my test results. And another final exam. I was escorted by security to an emergency dean meeting. A couple of weeks later I received mail telling me I was suspended for a term. I fought it and lost. The college claimed I had incited panic amongst the students. The suspension disqualified the funding I was receiving to help pay for the school. On an update, I transferred to a different college and finished my bachelor's degree in IT last year. I had a good friend get expelled with 1 month left before graduation because his ex-girlfriend accused him of upping her. Even after her friends went to the administration and told them she was lying. Told them she was trying to ruin his life. They still expelled him. They had recently dealt with a similar situation on campus and the school made an example out of him. Should have sued them. And her. She was a psycho. Not me. But a friend. Let's call him Ben. Was expelled his sophomore year. Ben came from a very conservative Christian family. His father and grandfather were pastors. Ben went to the same religious college they did. That college had strict rules about dressing modestly and fraternization of opposite sexes. If I recall, there were different levels allowed that depended on age role at school. Ben was caught off campus seeing a movie with a girl. Apparently they should have had a chaperone. I think it was also not the first time he had broken the rules. Ben was promptly expelled. His parents were so upset they sent him on a year-long mission overseas. Edited. Not seeing the cute part of sending a dude on a mission as punishment. My dad teaches at a Christian college. I was forced to attend because hey, free tuition. I lasted 1 year then got kicked out for not being godly enough. I was so unhappy. It was a stressful environment. Not the classes or professors. Some of the nicest people ever. It was the students and RD in my dorm that made it awful. I'm not social. At all. Or religious. I also don't like being awoken at 2 AM by other girls on my floor blasting pop music as loud as possible. So I'd often get confronted about my attitude. And why I didn't want to sit with my dorm mates at meal times. And they took my antisocialness as me being not right with the Lord. I peed onto a rival fraternity's back porch. The lights were off at their house. So I didn't know they were all inside having movie night. They all saw. A frat reported it instead of just getting back at you? They are such pussies for reporting that.